welcome to Parents and Baby TV. I am your host, Cora Gambino, and we are here today with Denise Bold. Thank you, Denise, for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure and a delight. Thank you.
Oh, well, Denise, let's talk about what you do. You are a certified birth and postpartum doula, and you also do a little bit more.
Yeah, I do a lot of things, actually. I'm an author. I've self-published a book for single Black moms. I do an internet radio show where I actually host and produce it. And I do a lot of advocacy work in the community, too. And I'm also a blogger for the Audacious Black Woman, so I do a lot of
That is amazing. Let's talk about exactly what is a doula.
Well, you know, doula derives from the Greek word of servant in the house, and that servant was really specified to provide support during childbirth and pregnancy. So this doula actually would come forward and help the woman or the birth giver through her pregnancy and childbirth. So we do a lot of support there, a lot of advocacy work using comfort techniques, and also using education to empower that family.
Are you certified with an organization?
Yes, I am. I am certified with DONA International. Doulas of North America is what DONA stands for, and now they've gone internationally. So I am certified as a birth doula with DONA International.
What is the importance of having a certified doula?
Well, when you're certified as a doula, you are adhering to the policies, procedures, and boundaries of that organization. So you basically sign a clause saying that you agree to the policies, and you actually have a code of ethics that you follow. And it also helps to protect the doula themselves. So if there's a grievance that's filed, there would be an investigation, and they would either have it unfounded or founded. So there are many benefits to having an organization behind your name and your work as a doula. It's very beneficial, and it's also great for networking and education purposes and conferences. It's a lot of fun.
The role of the doula has been around for a very long time now. This is not a new fad. So let's talk about that, how it was before and how it is now.
Well, that's a great question. It's a hot topic right now, too, because the doula world is going through a transition, if you want to call it that, for lack of a better word, relating to pregnancy and childbirth. You know, back then, the doula access was really for very affluent white women. And it was a best-kept secret. A lot of women didn't talk about it. It was not a common mainstream communication. So in other cultures, doulas were called other things. But here in North America, then, doulas themselves were really for the affluent.
Yes.
And certain cultures did not get that support, meaning women of color just didn't have access to it. So now, if we fast forward to today, we have over 106, I believe, different agencies that are certifying doulas. And they are very diverse, everything from spiritual to ethnicity to culture and practice. There's many different levels of doula work. However, there's still that disparity that's happening in birth work between women of color to women who are white.
Yes.
So the access of having a doula is still one that is a challenge because it does focus on two things. It focuses on access and availability, and it also focuses on money.
Yes.
So if the woman doesn't have that money to afford this doula, she has to go through the community route. And community doulas do tend to get burnt out very quickly because of the high volume of need, but there's also a challenge in finding those really good community doulas. So unfortunately, the doula world is still very much a capitalistic focused endeavor where women either have access to it or they don't. And if they don't, they have to find ways, creative ways of finding that resource.
So let's talk about the support that moms get for breastfeeding, right? There's the breastfeeding that happens in the hospital in the first 24 hours. Then that transition changes because now they're breastfeeding at home. What about breastfeeding in public?
Well, you know, let's take it back a little bit. Breastfeeding in the hospital is where it is supposed to be supported and supposed to start with that colostrum coming in, and then 3 or 4 days later the mom's breast milk actually comes down. But if the hospital is not baby friendly, then she may not or he may not get that support that they're looking for. So we have to think about that with our families. And once again, do that diligence before you give birth to make sure that that support is there. But breastfeeding in public is still one of the most controversial topics ever. You will see it several times a year where a woman is, or a person is given a citation or a ticket, or there's a confrontation in public with someone expressing their opinion. And it doesn't happen in other countries. It happens here in North America because we've sexualized breasts. that we are very comfortable with the Victoria's Secret model poster, but we're very uncomfortable watching.
Can't feed your baby.
You can't feed that baby. So now women are actually being very aggressive and very assertive in their breastfeeding in public. There's a National Breastfeeding Awareness Day. There's sit-ins where moms are breastfeeding their babies in public to really make this a mainstream thing, because breastfeeding is the best, most perfect way you can feed your baby. And it's something that really helps babies thrive, and they really do grow and do well with breastfeeding. And moms have a better bonding, less postpartum depression.
Yes.
There's many benefits to breastfeeding.
There's benefits to the baby. There's benefits to the mom.
Right.
Not only that, but they need to know that they are protected by the law to breastfeed.
That's right.
Wherever you are, you cannot be asked to relocate.
That's
You
right.
shouldn't be breastfeeding in the bathroom. You shouldn't be breastfeeding in your car.
That's right.
If you are sitting where you are, it is okay to just simply nourish your baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we do have great laws here in the state that I'm in that really do offer breastfeeding stations that are put up all throughout, and they really do enforce those laws to protect women or mothers who are breastfeeding.
Where can moms find those laws?
They can find them usually on their government's webpage, or they can just go to breastfeeding laws on the Google search, and it will come up right away.
So there are doulas for all different kinds of families. Our families are expanding from mom and mom, dad and dad, even adopting. So can we talk about the different kinds of families that we are servicing?
Absolutely. One of the newer things that are coming forward into the spotlight that is demanding education as well as advocacy is the LGBTQ population.
What exactly is that?
That is, from my understanding, it is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer population. And they are having families. They are building their own families. And birth workers, such as doulas, midwives, obstetricians, it's really imperative that we get to know and understand how to communicate, the right way to communicate, and the right way to provide that support. So that's something that doulas are also taking workshops and classes on now, because even for myself, I'm getting more and more same-sex clients as well as trans families coming through and giving birth.
Absolutely, because everyone should know how their partner is going to be bringing their baby into the world, whether it's through birth itself, IVF.
Right.
There's so many different ways to now have your baby.
Absolutely.
And grow your family.
Absolutely. And we also have to understand that the way we communicate really has to be important so that it is all inclusive. And you've heard me throughout your interview here today with your questions. I'm really making a very conscious effort myself to change from mom to birth giver.
Yes.
Birth giver basically comprehends and just understands that it covers anyone who's giving birth. So if it's a transgender person, however, or a biologically designated female, we are covering everyone and not excluding populations, which unfortunately this population has been excluded for a long time in just the language of birth.
Well, that is so great that we can just give an opportunity for everyone. That is amazing.
It should be. Birth is a right. You should have that inclusiveness.
What is one of your favorite services that you offer to moms?
Oh, I'm a birth doula. I love the whole birth process. I love seeing that transition, seeing that birth giver just go through this process, and it's a miracle every time I see it. I've done 58 births so far in my practice, and every time is unique, every time it's a miracle, and every time I'm completely enthralled with the process.
That's amazing. There's nothing like being inside the delivery room and seeing a baby be born, right?
It's a miracle unto itself. Everyone, the energy that's there, the families, the labor and delivery team, it's really an amazing thing. I never grow tired of it.
Me either. Let's talk about, because when we talk about birth, sometimes it can be natural, but there's also C-sections, the unplanned. Can we talk about how you provide the services for those families that are going through that other side of birth?
Sure. There's two ways to do a C-section. Usually a lot of my clients will have what's called a planned C-section, meaning that there's something medically indicating that they need to have that C-section. And as a doula, I do support C-sections. I help the moms get ready with the birth preference as to how they want to be treated with that C-section, how they want to birth, how they want their baby to be treated and cared for after the birth, and how she wants to recover is all part of the birth preferences. Plan B is what I talk to my birth clients about as far as, well, we're going for vaginal birth, but If something should happen during that labor that will get us to the road of having a C-section, then we're going to fall back onto Plan B. Plan B is that unexpected C-section. And with that being said, then my clients and I, we go into what we did with the first one as far as saying, oh, this is what we know what we're going to do. Dad's going to be here, mom's going to be there,
Yes.
doula's going to be there. So doulas still provide a lot of support as far as with C-sections, especially postpartum. Getting the mom to breastfeed and latch after surgery, making sure that she's recovering well and taking care of her body and eating properly. So there's a lot of support there for doulas.
Absolutely, because we tend to forget that birth also includes postpartum.
Yes.
That is the birth of a mother now.
Yes, that's right.
That's right, and that's something that should not be overlooked.
No.
So it's amazing that you're able to offer all these services, especially for the afterbirth. As a lactation counselor, how do you provide services for moms?
Well, I get her to talk about the anatomy and how her breast is. No two women have the same type of breast.
That's right.
So if she has inverted nipples or if she has flat nipples, there's things that we talk about there as far as to how to get them, the anatomy itself, to be more friendly for the baby to latch. A lot of women aren't even comfortable with touching their breasts because it's also over-sexualized. I have to find a lot of times where I am actually breaking down the sexual component of people's thinking about breasts and bringing it back to what we're really, built for. And the breasts were really built for feeding our babies,
That's
not
right.
for Victoria's Secret bras.
Well, it was never used that way before.
That's right.
So it is, it's new. It's completely new. So absolutely, like you said, showing them the anatomy, how it's used, that goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Denise, if we wanted to get in touch with you, how can we?
Well, you can reach me at Bold Doula. I'm known as Bold Doula, so www.bolddoula.com. You could also find me on Facebook under Denise Bolds or The Bold Doula. And you can find my blog, The Audacious Black Woman, also on the internet.
And we could also find you on the DONA website.
Yes, I am a regional director currently for the Northeast for DONA International, so you can also find me on the DONA webpage as well.
Denise, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I had a great time.
And likewise. Thank you for joining us on Parents and Baby TV. We look forward to seeing you next time.